is everybody's familiar with the Blair Witch Project. Well, Keedysville is right like next door to it, and as they had a big battle in Keedysville, not too far away. So it's sort of like when I was watching that for the first time, I'm going Keedysville. Oh my God, I know right where that is. I drove through there. So it was a neat experience. But Sharpsburg, I love. It's just it's a more pristine battlefield, and it really. Oh, and at the Pry House, I'll tell you, there was a Pry at McClellan's headquarters, and it was a hospital afterward. The Pry House, which is a little bit of ways from the field. One night we were out there, and we were camped there, and I looked, and it looked like a candle was going through from room to room, from window to window. So I got my buddy, and I said, "Hey, there's somebody inside there." And he goes, "What are you talking about? Go back to sleep." I said, "No, I think there's somebody back in there." So we get up there and we're trying the doors. We're thinking that, somebody got in, or, maybe, the park sometimes, they put people in these things to stay overnight. Doors are locked. We're in there. We're knocking on the door. Nothing. Next day, I went to my friend, asked him, "Ted, who'd you have in the Pry House?" He goes, "Nobody." I said, "Ted, I saw a candle. I saw the candle light go by. I could see it reflecting on the walls." He goes, "I'm telling you, Tim, no, there was nobody in there." And, I got up about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I sat there and waited for somebody to come out. I looked for cars. I looked for anything. And I probably sat there from 6 to 11 o'clock, and nobody came out until Ted came down and picked us up. So, Antietam can get crazy.
We did the show live from the Pry House one night.
That's a neat place.
And
what do you think of it? It's a neat place.
It is. And while we was doing the show, right toward the end, all of a sudden the lights in the kitchen went out. That's where we was doing the show from, and they didn't come back on. Kat got up and went out into the middle room where the desk was, because the docents was out there. And she asked them about the lights, and they said, and all of a sudden the lights come back on, and they said they never turned them out, said it's never happened before. And
that's neat.
And then after that, we went upstairs, and we were all in the one room where the general had been
McClellan
shot. Yep, he was in the room, and we was all in that room and starting to do a recording session, and me and Kat Gash was standing in the doorway. Everybody else was in the room, and me and Kat was right in the doorway. And when they asked a question, everybody was real quiet, and all of a sudden I'm hearing talking downstairs. And I said, "Kat, is there somebody else downstairs?" She said, "No." I said, "What? There's somebody talking." She says, "Yeah, it sounds like about 2 or 3 people down there talking." And I caught it on the recorder, and there wasn't nobody else down there, because us, the docents, and everybody was in that room.
That's neat. That's it. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about Antietam, but it is it's an amazing place to work. I mean, and to investigate. Every time I get down there, I try to get to Antietam as often as I possibly can. I'll stay in Gettysburg and just drive out to Antietam to just for a couple hours.
Have you ever been out on the battlefield and heard cannons going off, and
yeah,
they were not shooting the cannons?
Yep, that's you get that. There's people that still hear. I interviewed a guy that heard what he saw. It sounded like an entire battle in the distance, because back in 1862, there's something called acoustic echoes. So people like 10 miles away couldn't hear the battle, but it would bounce, and people like 20, 25 miles away, it made it sound like it was in its back, like in the backyard. And he said, the one night I'm sitting there, and we're just sitting out in the back porch, and he said, all of a sudden I started hearing like cannon fires and stuff and going on, and people screaming. He says it was incredible. And the one night I had pulled over, it was just getting dark, and I was heading back to Hagerstown, and I pulled over, and I'm used to, where we used to live before, we had trains and planes and all sorts of noise and stuff, and it was dead silence, and I heard two guns, like boom, boom, like, and at first I thought, well, maybe it was Jake breaks in the distance or whatever, and I've been around Canon enough to know what a cannon sounds like, and it really did. I can't swear for sure that I heard cannon, but I'll tell you what, it sounded like it. It was no shotgun, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting places all around the battlefields. Lots of stuff goes on.
Well, a friend of mine owns the David Stewart House.
Okay.
David Stewart Farm.
I know her.
It's a Confederate field hospital.
Yeah.
On the Confederate retreat out of Gettysburg, Stephanie, and I'll tell you what, that barn.
Yes, the barn.
That barn is crazy. Well, you've been there. That barn is crazy.
We did the show there one night, and we went out to the barn to investigate. And we're all standing like when you first go in, looking toward the back wall. And Cat Cloco and Tabby Cat and all of them was saying, there's Confederate soldiers over there, blah, blah, blah. And I'm standing in the back with Craig Rupp, and I'm looking, and I keep seeing these little red dots around there light up and go out. And I said, does anybody else see those red dots? And oh, yeah. Everybody said they seen them. I said, well, what are they? He said it's a Confederate soldiers smoking, and every time they take a draw, it'd get bright and then go dim.
I've seen them in there.
Yeah,
I've seen them in there. Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's that I got to say, I really that is one of those hidden treasures for paranormal investigators.
Yes.
And did you ever do the murder house in Gettysburg?
No.
It's a real estate agency like on the first floor, and it's an apartment on the second floor, and nobody wants to stay in the apartment. The building, it's on the main drag. It's right down the street from the Tilly Pierce house in Farnsworth.
Okay.
And it's so neat. It was built in the 1790s. It was there during a battle. It was a hospital during a battle. But in 1985, a guy got into an argument with his girlfriend and shot her and killed her. And he got off of the charge, but if you think about it, what happened, he used a rifle that you have to cock it in order to put a second shot into, in order to chamber the shot. And the girl was shot twice and she died. And I was up there one time, and the SK, is it the SKS? Is that how you say it? The camera? I can never get it right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it is. The little stick figures.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We're sitting there. We're in the dining room, and it's a big apartment. It's 2 floors, and we're in the dining, like the little dining area, and we're all sitting around a REM pod, and I'm looking at the screen, and I'm telling people, you got to see this. And it looked like a small little stick figure, comes up, and it reached out and it grabbed the aerial of the REM pod, and it just went off. Like somebody grabbed it, and it jumped back and kind of disappeared. And we're like, no, come on back. And it came back, and it did it 2 more times. That place is another one of those places that I've never walked away without getting an EVP or like a crazy personal experience. I'm walking up the stairs. It was like going through electricity the one night. It's a crazy place. So if you ever get a chance when you go back down there, if you can get into the murder house, do it. I enjoyed it. I've been there 4 times, and I thought it was well worth my time spent there.
Wow.
And it's literally called the murder house?
Well, they call it the murder house. I think you can rent it through Gettysburg Paranormal Association, and that's what they call it.
Oh.
Well, would it have a different name?
It probably does. There's a real estate agent underneath, on the first floor.
Okay. Well, probably, I'm sure Craig Rupp knows about it.
Oh,
Probably,
yeah, I'm sure he
yeah.
does. Craig knows everything about Gettysburg.
Yes. Yeah. So, all right, we're down just about 6 minutes and probably 5 before we start shutting down. Barbara, you
Come
got
on,
any last
Henry,
thing?
do another hour. Come on, Henry, do another hour.
Wish I could, but I can't. Sorry that things got messed up and we lost our time. So that just means we're going to have you come back on here before too long.
Let me know.
It's been too
Hey,
long.
Henry, we're both retired now. What else
Yes.
do we got to do?
You're right.
Yeah, it's not like you can just scoot down to the AMC and watch the new movie.
Yeah, really.
Barbara, you got any last stuff here you want to
Well, I
ask?
want to know what's on tap for Tim next.
Well, I've gone and I've canceled everything into August, and in August I'll actually I'm still scheduled for the Michigan Paracon at Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, up at the Key Den Casino. Mid Michigan, I'm in Flint, Michigan. I will be there. Little Traverse Bay, Michigan. I love that. As you can tell, I love Michigan. I'm actually teaching, and we're conducting seance in original 1800s housing at the the Buffalo Niagara Heritage Village. There'll be 4 of us there, and I'll be teaching about seance, and we're going to do them as a fundraiser for the village. And this Monday, 8 o'clock, the Black Cat Lounge will be on. I'll be on. I shouldn't say the Black Cat Lounge. I'll be on Facebook live, and I'll be talking about dowsing and just prattling on like an old washerwoman.
Now, what happened to blackcatlounge.com?
BlackCatLounge.com, I got rid of the fact that I was using, I needed something more to promote the other stuff that I was doing. So I went with the TimothyTShaw.com. It was more universal. And, when people were looking me up, they wouldn't know to look for Black Cat Lounge. The Black Cat Lounge was the show, and I had to kind of divorce that to be a separate entity in order to start looking for other venues to work.
Yeah, it took me a while to find the TimothyTShaw.com because I had Black Cat Lounge. I'm like, yeah, I'll just pull up his bio. I'm like, it's not there anymore. It's just gone. I'm like, okay.
We had actually done that, and then we had Eric and I had Sean Thomas Productions. We had done that for quite a few years.
Yeah, I found that.
We had done that, and we went from there. I decided to go when we stopped doing the Curiosity shows. We started going with. I just went with Timothy T. Shaw. It was a lot easier in the long run, and and Jeff. Let's face it, I don't keep that one up to date either.
You're like me. I mean, I do a lot, but then with having to redo the house and all this other stuff, and I just don't get time to do all the stuff that I'd like to. So and now that I'm quarantined and can't go do any investigations, which
you're locked down.
Well, a lot of places is close by that I normally would be going to, and I can't do it for now. So we're down to like 2 minutes. Tim, you want to give out where people can follow you? I guess you just did, but do it again and tell people. I know you do it on Facebook. You do a show on Facebook, and
right, we do. Yeah, we're on Facebook now, and look, you can look me up on for Curiosity on YouTube. You can see some of the old shows up there, and my website is TimothyTShaw.com. But I do a lot on Facebook. I'm always on Facebook. I'm showing people what I'm cooking. I'm showing them what retired feet look like. I'm letting everybody know what my chocolate lab Winifred is up to. So, I'm there probably most, and you can message me anywhere. And my email address is blackcatlounge1@yahoo.com if you have any questions, or message me on Facebook.
All right. Barbara, you got stuff you want to give out here?
I'm not premiering anywhere. None of us are. We're staying home.
Now I gotta.
You got to figure out what to do there, Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I didn't have the right thing opened up here, so
Oh, the music. Yeah.
yeah, and
The take us out music.
that's it. You got it. So let me get that opened here, and we will do that. So we're fixing to jump off. I want to thank Tim Shaw for being with us tonight. And for everybody who's listening, I hope you enjoyed the show, except for the problems that we had. So we will have him back on again before too long, and hopefully it will be a lot better. So until then, this is Henry Foister.
Jeffrey Gould.
And Barbara Duncan.
And we will see you next week at the same time. So good night, everybody.